You know, you didn't actually approach several kids in ways that made
All right,
several kids got
it's
more
6:30, I'll call this work session to order. We'll go over tonight's agenda. First, we have the invocation. We have announcements. You all received a copy of tonight's announcements. Pledge the flag. We have no ceremonial matters. The April 14th, 2014 meeting minutes, you all received a copy. Does anyone have any changes, objections? We have no invited.
Excuse me, I had emailed Melissa with the change, and she was gonna make, that change, but you know she did?
I think she did.
Minutes to be approved. The only difference between those.
Corrected second page for work session minutes.
The
I'm
only
not sure
difference-
what it was.
Yeah, the change was, the way that it read the first time, it made it, when you read it, it read that we went into exec session at 6:56, and then we adjourned the regular meeting at 7:21. It made it sound like we came back, we ended the exec session at 6:56, and then adjourned the work session at 7:21.
Recessed into the session at 6:56. The work session reconvened at 7:21 and then adjourned at 7:21.
Right, that's the change she made, so that was it.
Any other questions? We have no invited guests. Tonight we'll have committee reports by Ms. McElhaney. Mr. Sanders, do you have a report?
I do not.
We have no consent agenda. Under old business, we'll have a second reading on the 3% excess tax. Any questions about that? John, anything you want to tell us about that? And under new business, we'll have the approval of the Snellville United Methodist Church use of the stage. We talked about this the last two times. Anybody want to add anything? And then we have 3 vehicles that we're going to declare surplus. These vehicles, the vans?
No, it shouldn't be just vehicles. Oh, that's the city's van that they use for
Anybody have any questions? Then we have our work session agenda.
I'd like to add an item under discussion on the work session agenda, just a discussion about this kind of city we have over here on 124 last week.
Okay. We have the Overcomers House has sent us a request once again to use our town green. I think y'all remember we got this request last year. They've sent it again this year, but a little bit more advance notice this time. I believe they do have insurance. The nonprofit organization that's located there off of Nikki Road. If you remember, they came and gave us a presentation. They want to use it for their back to school fundraiser night. So I plan on putting this on an agenda for approval unless somebody has some problems with it.
When's the date?
I believe it's in August. I don't have it in front of me. They sent the application to city staff.
There was, there is a conflict. I think it's July 26th before school starts back. We had asked Kelly, I'm sure she's here. We'd asked staff to move a July 26th date because we have a big group coming into the community room. We have it rented out for that same day. Do you think they could because they'd be using the same parking? Is there staff moved there?
Because I know
then?
that Ms. Price sent this to staff several weeks ago. Has so staff contacted her and asked her that? Because this is the first I'm hearing of this.
I'm not sure if Karen and Melissa did that or not. I just knew that was they just told me that was a conflict with the community room event with 100 people in it. So could we, could I call Ms. Price? Could Ms. Price call me? We could talk about dates.
I think she sent actually she addressed the letter and the email to you when she originally sent the application in.
Just, we had never used the green or, I don't think we had a different group, non-city related entity use the green before, and I knew you guys needed to have that discussion as to, what you wanted to do. And that's kind of where we are. I know it's, it's 3 months ahead.
And what is the policy? Was there a policy determined on how outside groups or nonprofits were gonna use it, or who would be allowed, and is there a rental fee?
We don't have a fee agreement, we don't have an actual rental policy. What we had told them last time was that they needed to have insurance coverage similar to what Scott has. They would need to provide security coverage, and they would need to have porta potties. And I think the timing of all of that, and them being able to raise the funds for it, there wasn't enough time for them to do the event. So that's why they sent in the application, I believe, beginning of April, maybe March, to staff to try to get on top of it this year.
It might be a good idea for us this year, of course, because they're gonna live up, we gave them already the rules that we needed last year, that we go for that. It might be good for us to set a policy for the green, if it's gonna be, not so we know exactly, everybody knows exactly what's gonna be required. And I understand on this condition, we told them last year they're doing that, so it looks like, it sounds like we're covered if we have insurance and stuff, but, I think we need to formulate a policy for rental.
Do we know about the
Very
time?
similar like we do for the park.
Is there a time difference between one being in the community room, or is it the same time? If they're different times, it may not be an issue.
They want, the Overcomers folks want to come right after the farmer's market, I think 1 o'clock. And the other group is coming in that afternoon. But I'll be glad to put something, put a written policy in place. The Overcomers, they came to the community room before.
Right, for their end of the year gala,
And
but this is their back to school fundraiser.
Did
where
fine, and I
they
think they're having
have
kids here
bouncy
to hand out all
houses
their
and
supplies
events
and
and things
everything. So, I'll be glad to put something in writing for you, so you'll have, guidelines, because, I guess Chick-fil-A also has a request.
So Chick-fil-A sent an email, I think last week, it may have been the week before, it was after our last council meeting. Last year, they started, I can't remember the name of it now, they started their annual 5K that they're gonna do to Chick-fil-A on 124 on Scenic Highway. And this year it's grown, they already have several sponsors, I don't know if you've seen them on Facebook, announce their different sponsors. They have 1,500 people registered to run the race. And so they have outgrown their starting location, and so Robin Monk at Chick-fil-A contacted me to see if they could use the town green as their starting point. I don't know where we would have parking for 1,500 people, plus all the people that are coming, otherwise to watch, because they also have vendor booths, they have sponsors there with their booths, and they have the kids' activities and stuff. I spoke to Lisa about maybe having it at the park, but she doesn't know with that many people where they would have it either, because it's May 24th, which is the middle of Little League and everything else. But I know Chick-fil-A is great to us, they're always there to help. Tom is always there whenever Scott or anybody in the community asks for anything, so.
Well, even if they started here, where would,
I don't know what the race route, I don't know where they would run.
Have they
Probably come back here.
Have they talked to the churches? We've got 2 parking lots right across the street.
Well, that's what I had suggested after I talked to Lisa last week, was that maybe they use Snellville First Baptist, but, I don't know what route they would run, and that's the other reason I suggested the park. Their old location, they lined up in the Academy Sports parking lot, and then they ran down past Lowe's and back. They closed that one street, which would be a lot easier than, is that Jamar? A lot easier than trying to close Oak Road or something, but I didn't know, May 24th, I didn't know if that, that's Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, yeah, we've got the
Veterans
veterans memorial, but that'll be late in the
Wouldn't they
day.
get in and out in the morning though?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
true, it
Yeah, it's a
started.
morning race, yeah, but still, that, I
We
don't
can
know.
ask the runner in the room. It would surprise me if 1,500 showed up for a Chick-fil-A race. I mean, unless there was something special about it. They run them everywhere. Any of those places will work. And you just have to have somewhere where you can park in a shopping center. It doesn't have to be real close. They're runners.
They don't like walking.
Well, they got to warm up somewhere, so that's. But the park is great. If y'all want to do them a favor, start them in the park, because there's plenty of parking there for
Well, the park is, for that weekend, it's not a good weekend because of soccer tournaments and everything else
But
going
we're
on.
done by 9. I don't think they're gonna have games that as early as you'll be done before the Little Leaguers show up.
It's pretty early. Get them pretty early.
It's a 5K, so, I mean, it's finished by the 8th.
And then there's a 1 mile fun run.
Usually starts early,
I
ahead of
mean,
time.
it's real quick. That's the beauty of it, you're done.
So I don't know if you want, if,
Hardly worth getting dressed for them.
You don't have to wear much.
Thanks for that visual. Sorry.
Well, I think only wear shorts and pants.
so if there's a willingness of council to work with them on something, I'll set up a meeting with Robin, but otherwise I'll tell her that they need to look alternatively possibly at the churches.
Yeah, if they can get up the churches, if they can get the parking at the churches, there's no problem starting on the green. If they can get parking, if they're comfortable with the parking, that's up
It's
to
a,
them.
let's see, it's a,
I mean, you're right, Chick-fil-A's very good to us, anytime we need it, I want to be accommodate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
alright,
have.
so it's a 10K, a 5K, and a 1 mile fun run
But it comes take longer.
at 8 AM.
10K, you're gonna
And
have
so-
some hour and a half of it.
I think the issue with the space is not just a place for the runners to line up, but a place for them to put their vendors and their kids' activities.
Well, did they think the green's big enough for that?
Yeah, green.
Assuming so, because they asked for
Well,
it.
then, I mean, as long as they can parking there, I don't see the problem.
I think the first thing you gotta do is find out what their route is.
Well, North Road and your community's right there would work. Yeah, that'd be nice.
I think we try and work it out with them.
I'll get in touch with Robin, and, if we can work it out, we'll put it on the next agenda for an agreement. Record service.
And then, but you were gonna work on a policy for
Yeah, I don't.
outside groups
We'll
using,
just put everything that we can together from
because we haven't had
past
much,
discussions.
yeah, much call for it yet.
Record service?
Okay, I'm gonna defer this to Chief. We're gonna actually move this one into exec session. Chief, I'll let you expand on that a little bit.
Well, we're prepared to discuss it, but
Why does it qualify for exec session? Is it pending litigation?
possibly.
Impact of alcoholic beverage code changes, that's also pending litigation, so we'll discuss that in exec session. Economic development update.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Provided you with a kind of an update of where the economic development, we haven't done this in a while, so appreciate the opportunity to share with you just some of the things that are happening. Just a couple of quick things, the next DDA meeting is May 15th, and they'll be in this room. The URA are planning some kind of a planning or retreat of some kind that actually got scheduled this afternoon, that'll be May 20th, and we're gonna find a place for that, so that'll be their next two meetings. The Entrepreneur Alliance and our student program has done great things this year. We had over 200 young people in 3 schools working to start their own business. Between us and the city of Lawrenceville, we actually issued 52 student business licenses to those student businesses. That is a class of license that we created administratively. That's just in-house. We don't charge for it, and we don't send them tax bills. We just keep record of who they are, and we make them very well aware of when they turn 18, they need to do the real thing. But for most of them, they're either 17 or they turn 18 in these next few months, and they usually have a month or two, so we kind of give them a little bit of space in that month or two while they're in school. But the opportunity is, and one of the things we try and do all the way through that program, is teach them how to make a fully legally and licensed business. And so filling out all the paperwork, I take all of our business license forms over there, go over all the forms with them, and they fill out the pieces I need, and then we issue them a very simple business license, and they know what that is. The Shark Tanks are coming up. We've got $2,000 raised from private contributions for each Shark Tank. There's 2 of them. We were expecting a couple of more businesses out of the Central Gwinnett program. That's our newest ad this year. They only have 15 students there, so we've got one business coming out of there that's a partnership. So they'll be combining with the Brookwood, and we'll be doing one Shark Tank with the Brookwood, and the dates are there. The new development this year is we're going to do the Best Young Entrepreneur piece of the event up at the Gwinnett Chamber. They've agreed to do it in their executive boardroom and then have a small expo in their educational room across the hall. So I'm really excited about that opportunity they're raising. The jury up there will be some of their folks, and so that's going to really be a neat experience for the young people that actually win. So there will be two outcomes from the Shark Tanks. One will be here, one will be at Nova Logic on the square in Lawrenceville for Brookwood and the Central Gwinnett program. The two things that happen, one is the juries give away the money. The second thing that happens is the jury decides or promotes or nominates two business owners to go on to the one at the chamber. So there will be 5 businesses pitching at the chamber event on May 7th. And the reason I say 5 is because, as we talked about it in the program internally, we're going to give an automatic kind of nomination to the Central Gwinnett business to go forward because they're the only one there. We didn't want Central Gwinnett knocked out of the process, so to speak, just because they had one business. But their business still will be judged or juried in the Shark Tank based against all the other Brookwood businesses, so their amount of money that they might get will be based on still a true decision of the jury. It was just a way to keep them engaged and involved and not cut them out of that final presentation just because only one business developed there and they didn't have competition. So there will be 5 there. Snellville Entrepreneur Summit. We've been doing the summits with a little bit of a smaller grouping. We're trying not to get quite so many people there, but trying to get more people there that are, shall we say, quality or focused on what the topic was. And so this last one we had 15. Very well received. Almost every evaluation that we got said they found it valuable to their business. They would be back. And it was a very good event. Maria Peck at Access to Capital was involved in that. And Access to Capital is a special kind of finance organization. They're called a CDFI, a Community Development Finance Organization. They loan to businesses that are right below the tier that most of the normal banks would loan to. So as we found out at that session, you can have a little lesser of a credit rating, they can make a little bit smaller of a loan, and it's more of an opportunity to work hand in hand. They base the rating and the underwriting of the loan a lot more on, hey, what used to be old banking principles of the relationship and the people and looking into who they were instead of just a credit score, which I think is nice. They've actually financed one of our businesses in our community. Anybody that's familiar with Sarah Care, they got a loan from ACE. We're very excited about it. It actually saved their business. They needed 5 months of working capital to get through a space where they had no money to pay salary staff and so forth. ACE made the loan to them, and so they're still in our community today because of ACE. And Sarah, Aisha, is very appreciative of those, and she said it was a very good experience, a very good working thing that she went through with her business, and like I said, without them, they wouldn't be here anymore. So that was a well-hosted summit. Our next one is July 15th, and we'll be back on social media again on that one. And then just some roundup. The city's opportunity zone, which I always kind of keep an eye on in the back of my desk, is still stuck at DCA. And when I had a meeting when I caught Joni Perry, the meeting I was at last week, basically all she really told me about it is still internal discussions there. And yes, they're way past the 90 days statutorily. They were supposed to make the decision. And then yes, the legislative session is over now. That's the other thing they were waiting for. So I don't have any idea what their stall is now. But they are still stalling on it. The Entrepreneur Council has set up a second or a fourth tool. We're going to invite Access to Capital back on May 17th. I'm pretty excited about that. It's a 2-hour opportunity here to actually work with some of our entrepreneurs on a more hands-on opportunity to know what it would be, what paperwork is needed, how to manage your credit rating and improve it if you need to, and all the more detailed stuff. Really what she did at the summit was an overview of what she does. So I'm looking forward to her being in more detail. I've had a couple of meetings in the last several weeks with some businesses in our community. Some of them are expanding, some of them are doing some interesting things, and I've been connecting them to our resources. For example, several of them have been connected to the Small Business Development Center now, and the Small Business Development Center is doing market research for them. So that's one way that our resources are serving the people in the community with those things. And then finally, something way out in your future, but I just started getting information about it. I'm on the redevelopment forum at Partnership Gwinnett, up there monthly helping them plan it. The next redevelopment forum is on October 17th. It's a Thursday, and I would strongly encourage all of you to put it on your calendar for that day. They are going to be doing several sessions on public-private partnerships and community-led investment and development. So it's going to be some good sessions about some things that are in our near future as we talk about what might happen with the Wisteria Square property.
Thank you, Eric. And then we have Tent City.
Yes, just came to my attention Sunday. There was a picture on the internet and a lot of chatter about it, but this is the corner of the Chevron station there in the corner of, yeah. 124 and we had this problem last year, Chief. I called the chief, there was a lady out there waving lingerie, and so lingerie out the corner and some knockoff purses, and we had it stopped. The police went over there and told them they had to be within 10 feet of the building, and they stopped. But it looks like they've gone on steroids this year. They're selling meat out of a trailer, and I don't know about the legality of any of that.
They actually were there Easter weekend on Sunday, and I called, but it was when the power went out, so they packed up before anybody could do anything. So I know that there's been a report made to code enforcement last weekend, and it's been referred to the police department.
Actually, that was one of the emails that got lost. I sent to Wayne Brown to check on, but we're gonna check on it this weekend.
Okay, so we're on top of it.
Also,
Look like, how many violations there are there, but I gotta believe there's more than one or two.
they're not allowed to sell any kind of food service products. You're not allowed to sell anything that's not a primary product of the store either. I mean, remember we used to have the cat house guy, we used to have the people selling couches off the back of the truck.
Right.
Basically, that's when that ordinance got passed. So anytime you see any of that, code enforcement's run out of planning now. So that's, basically your 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. So anytime you guys see this on the weekends, typically call dispatch and they'll take care of it on the weekends and we communicate.
Well, as long as they're aware, I mean, I didn't realize you guys are aware of it.
Yeah, we got the shell guy today, he was selling boiled peanuts, so typically in the summer, you'll start to see it a little bit more and just let us know.
And there has been an influx, I don't know if you know, Easter weekend, I noticed the ribeye guy, and that's when I made the phone call, but, last weekend, there was not, I didn't see him last weekend. I mean, yeah, I know that was last weekend. I didn't go past there. But there was a car wash place out of the Huddle House, and the police responded and cited that gentleman because he didn't have a permit to be there. I think there's been some produce places that have so the gas stations, 2 or 3 of the local gas stations have had, for whatever reason, some people pop up in the last couple of weekends, so.
Are we not instructing those owners?
The new guys at the shell, and I talked to them first, and then the peanut guy second. So
Okay, and then this guy's the Chevron, everybody talk to the guy at the Chevron, he seems to be habitual at this.
They are, we'll have to, that's the first person to cite, basically, because they know better too.
Okay,
They've been a problem.
as long as I can report that we're on it and corrective actions are being taken.
The Shell station down at Cooper, across from where Cooper's corner was, that's out of the city, isn't it? It's in the city? Because there's a barbecue guy that's been selling there on the weekends too. He's got a great big huge trailer he's selling out of.
They've knocked the cable down, because for a while they couldn't drive on the property, somebody's knocked the cable down. So we'll contact the realty company and ask them to put the cable back up too.
Yeah, because he was out there at least 2 of the last 3 weekends. I was thinking it was out of the city, so I didn't call.
And we want to be clear, we want these people to have, we're not trying to chase anyone out of business, but we want to make sure that it's tactful and that it's by our ordinances when they do it. Okay, with that, during the work session of the mayor and city council of Snellville, Georgia, Mayor Couch announced that certain matters to be discussed in a closed session of the meeting.
I feel like I'm